Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It is me, Captain Logan, and joining me, as always, is my fantastic chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez, with the shirt that I want to color.
Have at it, man. Next time you come over, I'll throw you some Sharpies your way, and you can make it a singular Geekvolution piece.
See, you say that, but then you're gonna be like, wait, no, I didn't mean it. Because I love my shirt. I don't want you to ruin my shirt with your markers, with your permanent markers.
Yeah, I don't care. It was like $9.
It's a cool shirt, though.
Thank you.
You know what I'll do that'll just totally creep you out? I'm going to take a picture of you wearing that and print it and color that.
Ah.
That's what I'll do.
Well, yeah, you're going to have to catch me at the right angle so there's no wrinkles.
I'll have to catch you at multiple angles so I can color the whole shirt. This is getting weird already.
I feel uncomfortable. Anyone else? Nope.
That was the goal. That's what I was aiming at.
Make the moderator uncomfortable day.
Yeah. Make my moderator uncomfortable. Everybody, welcome back to another exciting, riveting, I'm sure, live episode of the Captain Logan Show. I hope you're strapped in. I hope you're ready for it. Tonight, we're going to talk about several different things happening in geeky news. And DJ, I feel like I could have made this 7 or 8 articles strong. There's a lot of random things going on this week. If anybody wants to bring up anything that we're not talking about for the lead-in topics, of course, feel free. But I'm going to hit some DC and some Marvel news, and we're going to talk about Perlmutter and a couple of other things.
Sorry, that what a crazy name, Perlmutter. It sounds like it should be an expression like for the grapevine or like the scuttlebutt. What's the Perlmutter these days?
Oh, that's really good.
It sounds like. How's that a name? Sorry, if your name's Perlmutter in the audience, I'm not making fun of you. Just your name.
It's gotta be somebody's gonna show up and be like, yes, but no relation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's also Ike. The combination of Ike and Perlmutter. The guy, man. Props to the guy for being.
It's quite a name.
All the way up to CEO with that name.
I was gonna go to. Sounds like a golf club.
Ah, yes.
Can I get the?
Yeah, you up for a quick 9 on the Perlmutter these days? Perlmutter. I changed it. See,
no,
I
not
can't even
on
say
the
it.
Perlmutter. You use the Perlmutter. It's one of the clubs. It's
one
of
the actual club. I thought you were talking about the
oh
club.
No, I meant like a golf club. Like it's like a 9-iron.
Yeah, the
it's
Perlmutter
like,
3000. I thought you were talking about like the country club, which also could work.
Do you want a 9-iron or do you want the Perlmutter? I'm gonna take
Ho! I think this is. I mean, we gotta wait till last minute for the Perlmutter. That's intense. I don't think this is quite a Perlmutter hole.
Nothing sounds right.
Right now.
And then you hand you've got Rhodey and he's golfing with Tony Stark, and then he hands Tony Stark the Perlmutter, and then Tony gets a hole in one and he says,
well,
why didn't we
you can't hand it to him. He doesn't like being handed things, not even Perlmutters.
But he gives it to Tony Stark, and Tony Stark goes, why didn't we just lead with that?
Is it too much to ask for both? Why do we ever keep going with that, by the way? Like, I'm pretty sure people hand him things like throughout the rest of the movies. That's just like an Iron Man 2 thing, that he doesn't like to be handed things.
Yeah, but we all remembered it.
Yeah, it was very memorable.
It is, yeah. He just doesn't like to be handed things. It's going to be interesting revisiting that now that I'm doing this new crazy Rewind commentary project, and I'm going to do new commentaries for everything, until I keel over first before I get to everything.
Or until you start over again.
So much. Right. I really appreciate that you have no trust in me whatsoever. I appreciate the vote of confidence. He's like, yeah, until you start over, until you get sick of this, you do something else. Why are you even still dealing with superhero movies?
That's not me. That's not me. That's the Perlmutter these days. That's what I'm hearing on the forums.
That's what you're hearing? On all of them. All the forums.
All the forums. Yeah, all the Geekvolution forums.
Yeah, there's so many of those. Guys, please ask questions to steer the show in some other direction, and we're excited to hear from you. You can leave a super chat in any dollar amount. I'm already seeing at least one of those pop in, and that guarantees that we'll talk about whatever you're interested in tonight within reason. We like to keep things, of course, mostly geeky and geek news related, but you could pop culture, but you can ask us about pretty much anything under the sun, and we've heard it all by now. No, we haven't heard it all, because
no, don't try to outdo us.
Well, I was going to say, I don't want you to think that every question's been asked and it's all redundant now. Somehow, after 262 shows, we're still hearing new things.
That's true. But then if you say that, they'll just go to try to make us uncomfortable. They'll go to an uncomfortable place, and we don't want that.
You have to be really calculating when you do a twice-a-week Q&A show, I'm finding. If you don't want to leave a super chat, don't worry. We appreciate you just being here, and you can still interact with us, and we'll do our best to answer as many regular questions outside of super chat as possible. Just make sure to put those in the regular chat and to ping DJ Martinez at DJ Martinez at Coloring Book Shirt. He'll answer to any of these things. And Perlmutter. He'll answer.
Sure. Call me Perlmutter.
At the Perlmutter.
The Perlmutter.
Oh, yeah. Man. No, actually, the Perlmutter wouldn't give him a hole in one. It would turn out to be Stark Tech, or not Stark Tech. It would turn out to be Hammer Tech, and it just wouldn't work.
Yeah. It wouldn't work, but it'd be funny, and it would dance on the stage.
Your golf club's like, he can't get his head in that. I don't know what's happening already. Should we get to the news, DJ?
Sure.
Should we stop wasting everybody's time again?
I don't want to get to the first super chat because it's like a existential crisis question.
Well, we'll get to the super chats after we handle the news here. Robert Pattinson's The Batman 2 major new villain revealed, and I have to say, apparently revealed, because this is still in likely but sort of rumor territory. And
it's still in the Perlmutter, but we're going to
stop that.
I'm trying to make it happen.
And I don't usually report too often on things that are in rumor territory, but this has been talked about on websites all over the place this week. It's one of those kind of inside sources things where we're kind of just waiting for somebody inside the Batman camp to come out and say for sure this is happening, but it sounds very likely, especially because the co-writer on this project has been pitching, and we don't know for sure if this is going to happen yet, but has been pitching Warner Brothers a Clayface movie. And if indeed that happens, I'm going to be glad if this is true, DJ, because you know what it means. It means that Warner Brothers will not be making a Batman villain spinoff that doesn't show up in a Batman movie first. They're not doing the Sony Venom Spider-Man shenanigans.
Not as cool as Sony. Only Sony can pull a Sony.
Exactly. So I think that there's probably a lot of credibility to this. It's also one of the characters that has been bandied about most by Matt Reeves and the folks working on the Pattinson Batmans. We've been hearing that Clayface could be one of the characters that shows up in the Arkham TV series, and so if he's in this movie, that certainly won't surprise me. Kind of the question is more, if he's there, is he going to be the main villain? And this, really all we know is that it sounds like this is probably going to happen. Let's see. I just want to check this article and see if there's anything else specifically we should actually read about this. There's a lot of question about what version, of course, of Clayface we'll see. This from the direct. How will Warner Brothers use Clayface in the Batman 2? Fans have seen a whole lot of Clayface in recent years, thanks to Alan Tudyk's starring role in the animated Harley Quinn show. He's very funny in that. But this time, Warner Brothers will likely look to take on a much more serious and grounded version of the villain. This will also be the most fantastical villain that Matt Reeves has taken on yet, with the Penguin, Riddler, and eventually the Joker being in play, leaving fans intrigued about how Clayface will actually be brought to life. DJ, what are your 2 cents on this? The likelihood that they actually do like morphing, tentacle changing kind of Clayface? How grounded do you think they'll feel the need to go with this?
I don't know much about Clayface. I know the Batman version, where he's like a police investigator and he's like Batman's friend. But someone in the chat said, do you think they'll do full on Clayface, or they'll do like he is in his first appearance? What is he like in his first appearance? Is he just like a chameleon character where he just like changes his face or something?
Yeah, he's basically False Face from the 60s show.
Oh.
Originally. So there are like 4 different Clayfaces that I know about. There might even be something past Lady Clayface, I'm not sure. But every one of them has a different power set or a different MO. They don't even all have powers. And I think this article is a little bit strange.
I could see him maybe doing that. That's interesting.
Yeah, the way this is worded is weird, and I don't mean to spend all of our time just critiquing not so greatly written articles.
That's what we do here. That's our MO.
It's what we do. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a writer. I'm something of a writing teacher. It's difficult not to go, okay, but your word choice, your phrasing is weird. At the same time as this article is saying, we think they'll make something grounded with Clayface, it also says one of the most fantastical villains. Well, not necessarily. They could do a much more grounded version where it's not somebody that takes a serum that again makes them turn into actual physical clay, where they can remold themselves. But given that, and I forget his name right now. I thought it was in this article, but I'm not seeing it. Given that, oh yes, Mike Flanagan. That Flanagan seems kind of obsessed with this character. It's unlikely to me that he's obsessed with Clayface 1. You know, if he's from my generation, he probably grew up with the Matt Hagen Batman TAS version, which is a combination of the original 2 Clayfaces. So the first Clayface is an out-of-work actor who is kind of getting back at the world for losing his popularity. And in the very first appearance of Clayface, DJ, it's kind of a fun story. And he's got a little bit in common, I think, with Mysterio. He's upset because his movie, his horror movie that he's most popular for, The Terror, is being remade. And this is in 1940, and we're doing a story about Hollywood remaking a movie and the original actor being pissed off about it and getting back at people. It's really interesting. And then the second Clayface is kind of just a thief who ends up with this magic, I don't remember what exactly it is. It just comes out of a bottle that he finds when he's treasure hunting, and it gives him the Clayface ability and changes his whole chemical composition. And anyway, so the version I'm used to is a mix of those 2 things, where it's the actor who's out of work but who gets a compound that's like a science experiment that makes it so that he can change his face. And I think it's pretty likely that they go with something kind of close to that. But I always said that with that first movie, I didn't feel like there was anything in it that completely went against those movies going more heightened and doing the kind of more impossible comic book stuff. There's nothing in that movie that really does that. It's a little bit more grounded, but it's sort of like, if you read Long Halloween and then the next thing you read was like Batman Venom or something, where I don't think it's a bridge too far, but I also kind of have a hard time. Well, okay, I'm back and forth on this. I was going to say, I don't see Matt Reeves wanting to do a version of a character that's going to be almost like 100% CGI. But then this is also the same guy who made the Apes movies. So if anybody can make it look realistic enough that we're not even thinking about the CG for something kind of supernatural like that, he's the guy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, any way they do it, it's going to be like a big kind of leap from the first movie, because we were surprised by how realistic he played that first movie. Like, and hopefully that's just because he's like, Batman can't even like fly around. He had like pop out a wingsuit for a second and like fell and hit like a lamppost or something. It was like really realistic way of him just falling out of there. Hopefully in the second movie he'll be Batman more, and he'll be better at it, and he'll be able to like glide around and be a little more stylized. But as stylized as that movie is, the physics are pretty realistic.
Yeah, the question is how much of that is because we're trying to be grounded, and how much of it is Batman's not good at some of this yet.
Yeah.
Where is the flying squirrel suit like a proto suit, and then it'll actually be big bat wings later? I don't know. But it's also possible. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, except for when he is, and he can ramp a Batmobile through fire off of something. I don't know what he ramped off of, but just flies in the air.
It's not important because it was awesome. But don't you think that there's also every possibility, because I think some people are probably concerned if it is something closer to Clayface 2, the Wrath of Khan, that we end up kind of jumping too fast, where maybe it would be better to have kind of baby steps and get people used to these kinds of things are possible in this Batman universe. I think that, first of all, depending on how you make it, I think this could easily just be the introduction to crazier things are possible in this world and be fine. But I also think it's entirely possible that midpoint is one or both of those TV shows on HBO Max, and he could be introduced there. But even if he's not, you could have Poison Ivy there. You could have, any number of other Batman villains that are a little more heightened, do things that seem more impossible in real life, where it becomes more of a science fiction kind of thing. And I just think that's a part of the world that we haven't even tapped yet. So just because we didn't look at it doesn't mean it's not there. You could do Man-Bat in that show. There's all kinds of things you could do. I was kind of hoping the sequel would be Man-Bat. But I am excited about this, certainly. It's a character that we've never attempted on the big screen before, and in live action, really at all. I can't remember if Gotham did him.
I don't know. Probably just so they could change an actor's face and use a different actor. Yeah, I'd like Man-Bat would be cool. I like Man-Bat because he's like basically a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah. Well, I feel like sometimes Clayface is basically a Spider-Man villain.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the true. I mean, the true test will be if Clayface falls into a nightly clay experiment run by negligent scientists in the middle of the night after he breaks out of prison. That's the origin I want.
I mean, if you go down the litany of Batman's rogues gallery, I feel like a lot of them would, if you did them anything like off the page, would very quickly make this world seem more stylized or heightened than what we've seen already. Like throw a dart. If you do Poison Ivy, you're already there. Like if you do Ventriloquist to some degree, you're already there.
Yeah, unless it's literally just a guy with a puppet.
Yeah, but it depends on what the puppet is able to do, like versus the ventriloquist himself, because very often it's talking when the guy is doing something where you couldn't possibly be making it talk, and it's like, how do we do it?
Yeah, no, I mean, this Two-Face in this universe has to be like green or blue or something, right? He can't just be a burn face.
Yeah, and we've done that. You'd think Reeves would probably want to, do something different with it. I love that look. I mean, that is the more grounded way to do it, but it's also kind of more disturbing than just acid face.
Yeah. Also, you can burn your face and not have it like completely burned off. Like you could have like a messed up face, but not like see through it.
Yeah, well, that was heightened enough in Dark Knight, to be honest with you, because the fact that he could even operate like that without any kind of
and his eyeball didn't fall out.
Yeah, I was gonna say without any kind of anesthesia or anything. Like,
yeah. I feel like just walking outside and the wind blowing your face would be agonizingly painful.
Yeah, and he kind of acts like he's in pain, but you'd think it'd be excruciating enough. You'd just be screaming a lot. He'd be walking around like flipping his going, ah!
That would have messed up the PG-13 rating. Just screaming bloody murder for the last 15 minutes of the film.
Are you sure you don't want any skin grafts, Mr. Dent? No, I'm good. Ah! Let's go ahead and move on. If folks want to ask us anything about that, we'll take questions when we're finished with all of the news here. We're already 20 minutes in. My Adventures with Superman now coming to Adult Swim. This is kind of an odd choice and not at all like development, not at all what I was expecting. I'm glad to finally have news about this, because ever since we learned that the new Batman show wasn't going to HBO Max, it was like, okay, what is even happening with this show? We heard that was being shopped around. We heard nothing at all about My Adventures with Superman. And even after we somewhat recently, what was it, 3 or 4 weeks ago, DJ, we found out that Cape Crusader was going to Amazon. We still hadn't heard about this. So I guess Adult Swim is changing what it is now to some degree, and I don't know how smart this is. I think it's maybe a little bit desperate of Warner Brothers, who has of course been hemorrhaging money and is merging departments and is like closed one animation side and merged it with another. We're hearing that kind of story from both the big two companies with superheroes right now, both Warner Brothers and Disney. More on that here in a little bit as far as merging departments. But apparently Adult Swim is going to be moving to like 7 p.m. and maybe isn't going to be as adult as it used to be. Man of Steel this is from GameSpot. Man of Steel is returning to small screens later this year. I didn't realize it was this year. As Adult Swim has announced that it will broadcast the new animated series, originally scheduled to launch on HBO Max. Of course, we knew that was canceled and it was going to have to go someplace else. I'm just kind of skipping around here. On the production side, the series will be executive produced by Sam Register, Josie Campbell, yada yada yada. We've talked about, or we knew about most of this, I think. There's a lot of we got to pad out the article so it can be a whole article. And it's just talking about the gun projects that we already know about. Yeah, so there's really nothing here except it's going to Adult Swim. But I read someplace else that Adult Swim is moving to an earlier time, because I was like, I didn't get any sense that this was a like raunchier or just weirder, aimed more at grown-ups kind of show. Maybe it will be that. I don't know, but it sounds like maybe Adult Swim itself is changing like its persona a little bit.
Yeah, Superman's going to Adult Swim. Batman's going to Amazon. Weird times we're in.
It's very strange, because these were originally reported as if they were companion series. Not that they were anything alike at all, but just, okay, we're finally getting a Batman and a Superman series. They're going to come out at the same time. They're on different networks. Neither of them, this is so ironic, neither of them being the catch-all streaming service that Warner Brothers has for anything they're not going to put on broadcast television, and which has superhero series that were originally developed for a streaming service that was only for superhero series. Isn't that crazy? Like, everything else went there. Well, except for the stuff that they dropped and moved over to CW, and then they're not on CW anymore either, like Stargirl.
So confusing.
Yeah, I don't know how we keep up with any of this.
I choose not to.
All you have to do is read the comments, man. It's fine.
I get the easy part.
And then when I go to you and ask for your opinion about things, you either say or look, that's not in my job description. I don't have to do that.
What do you want from me? I'm already reading the questions.
Look, I had to learn. I had to learn how to read for this show. Okay, it was
still practicing every night before I go to bed.
I just feel like this. If this isn't a more, I don't want to say rated R show, but if it is aimed like. Not aimed that much at adults, and it doesn't have the kind of Adult Swim humor that is kind of made that popular. I feel like they might be kind of diluting that brand a little bit by putting things like this there. And if they are indeed moving that time slot up, take that with a grain of salt, because I'm not seeing that in this article. I'm not sure where I saw that in the first place, so I may be wrong about that. But anyway, finally, I just want to bring up that was happening, and it is this year, and I'm excited to see what that's like. Finally, from Variety, Disney absorbs Marvel Entertainment amid layoffs, dismisses chairman Ike Perlmutter. And I really appreciate, DJ, that first thing is the start of this article is in the front of that title instead of the Perlmutter thing, because when this was revealed yesterday, we usually get all this news on a Thursday, and then I have to kind of scramble to get the show together, and it all happened yesterday, which I guess was kind of nice. But then I was kind of expecting, DJ, that like some way bigger, earth-shattering thing would happen this afternoon, and then I had to decide if we were even going to include all the rest of this stuff, but that didn't really happen. So that's good. But this was yesterday.
There's a lot of good stuff, though.
So a lot of websites and folks on Twitter and stuff were kind of burying the lead on this, I think, where everybody was talking about Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter got fired. Isn't that crazy? He's been with Marvel forever, and he, all the stuff he did in the 90s, and spearheading the Marvel buyout with Disney in the first place and getting the MCU off the ground and all of that. And yes, that is news, absolutely. But the crazy part of this is the reason it happened, and that they're folding in. I don't know. It's just, I don't want to say end of an era, because Marvel Comics haven't looked like Marvel Comics to me in a long time anyway, and I don't know how different things are going to be moving forward. But we have, or Disney has shut down Marvel Entertainment, which means the comic side and everything that's not already roped into the movie production, it's done. They shut it down and are incorporating it into Marvel Studios. And I feel like not enough people are talking about this part of it. That's crazy. Like, it's the infrastructure is still there. Comics are still going to come out, but I don't know what that looks like versus what it was before. And it's just fundamentally different and interesting and kind of sad that like Disney has now, because Marvel continued to work autonomously for a long time, kind of like Pixar, and now what I think a lot of people were sort of afraid would happen when Marvel was first bought by Disney is indeed happening. It's just an extension of Marvel Studios now. Disney's cost-cutting measures have reached to the top echelons of the company. Ike Perlmutter, chairman of Marvel Entertainment and a golf club, has been laid off as his division, which is separate from Marvel Studios, is absorbed into other units of Disney. And again, it's not... It's it's not insignificant and irrelevant that they're losing Perlmutter, but he has not been as influential and to the brand in the last several years, and was taken off of the movie side years ago, put on the TV side. In a lot of people's opinion, kind of tanked that. He and the movie side, Feige, kind of at war for a long time, where those two things weren't really talking to each other. It was hard to tell if TV shows even really counted canonically. We still wonder about that to some degree. And then he was let go even from that, and was just kind of at Marvel Entertainment doing not a whole lot. Like, he's 80 years old now. I'm sure this, it's not like he's going to be impoverished over this, obviously, but so it's not an insignificant thing, but I think it is important to note that he has not had the influence that he did, and it's probably for a good thing for the MCU, because famously he had, and we've talked about this on this show before, but famously he and Rewind and stuff, but he's had some kind of crazy ideas that people didn't like, and he was overly obnoxiously frugal. There was the story about his taking paper clips out of trash cans to try to save money, and just weird things like that. He didn't like the idea.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
He didn't like the idea of female superheroes, because he didn't think that they could sell action figures. All the way up until recently, he would complain about Marvel spending too much money on stuff. And if he was saying, hey, we had too many Disney Plus shows, he'd be right about that. But he was saying things like, we can't spend $200 million on Doctor Strange 2. And to that I say, is that because you didn't think that movie would sell, or just because you don't think any of those movies should cost that much? I couldn't figure out with that quote. That's in this article, and I want to get to questions pretty soon, so I'm just going to skim this. But DJ, I wondered if that meant he didn't think they should even make a sequel to Doctor Strange, or if it meant why 200,000 or 200 million. I don't know. Did I say thousand? Obviously I meant million, but yeah.
This little indie film, Doctor Strange 2. Under a mil. No, I mean, I don't know, I kind of agree with that. Their movies wouldn't be so super dependent on making $1 billion if they would just not spend so much to make them.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so he was notorious. Certainly a lot of people don't care for him and are glad that he hasn't been, involved lately. But the real news here, again, is folding in Marvel Entertainment. The decision to dismiss Perlmutter as part of Disney's cost-cutting measure is ironic, considering the executive's infamous reputation for pinching pennies. As I was just talking about, Perlmutter sold Marvel to Disney in 2009 for $4 billion, a figure the company has recouped several times over as Marvel Studios became a box office behemoth that dominated the industry since the 2010s. And this goes without saying, but it's kind of crazy going back to that number and thinking that they bought Marvel for only $4 billion. That's what kind of shape the company was in back then. And their take in the comic side yearly is only $40 to $60 million, which is a drop of the bucket, obviously, to $7 or $8 billion they're making on the movie side. When they're actually doing that well. And it's also important to note that Perlmutter and I can't even say his name now, and Avi Arad used to co-run Toy Biz, and were working on all the Marvel cartoons in the 90s and stuff. And so the only guy that is still, one of the only guys that is still around from back then making Marvel stuff is Avi Arad. I want to say for better or worse, but I can really only say for worse and worse at this point, I think.
Worse and worser.
You still had Laura Schuler Donner on the X-Men movies. I should mention that, but I don't know if I don't know if her name is on anything with Marvel these days. I actually don't know that. I don't know if she's producing anything. If they've kept her around as a staple after they bought out Fox. I wonder if her name will be on the next Deadpool movie. That's a question. That's just an aside, but I just thought of that.
Yeah, let's get to the real topic here, though.
Yeah.
Is Ike short for something? Like Mike is short for Michael. What is Ike? Is Ike just his name?
Again, it's what is it? Isaac.
Isaac.
Yeah, his name is Isaac.
Isaac Perlmutter.
But yeah, so is it like am I just too nostalgic and sentimental? Like, is it as sad as it sounds to me to see this happen to the comic side?
I don't know. I don't know how much it's going to change.
Meaning, that's what I'm saying, is I don't even like it right now, so I don't care, I guess, but I do.
But is it just a name only? Is it just a formality that they have to close like that studio, but it's just going to be exactly the same, just with a different name?
Well, it'll be curious to see how many people get laid off, because you already had a bunch of layoffs in the comic side right after COVID, if memory serves. Like, they were already, it seemed like, working on something of a skeleton crew. I don't know what it looks like over there right now, because I haven't been keeping up. Just nothing they had been publishing for the last several years really appealed to me. And I have not been keeping up, so I don't know what exactly is happening there now. But what I hear still from folks that are keeping up with comics week to week is DC has got at least a few things they're interested in, and Marvel keeps just like rolling a D20 and publishing whatever random thing has never been done before, and seems to still be aiming things at a younger market that is just not there. But I'm not actually looking at it, so take all that with a grain of salt, of course. But yeah, like I said, the infrastructure is there. I don't think this will really change the MO over at the comic side that much, except it could lead us in even more of a direction, but maybe we're just there enough anyway. I don't think it could be much worse, but I was going to say, maybe it could lead us in a little bit more of a direction of we're just publishing comics to advertise the movies, and we're not actually, making new stories that we're adapting from or influenced by to make the movies. I mean, it seems like if Gunn gets his way moving forward, DC is going to have the absolute opposite tack, where the comics at DC are there to be a fountain of new material to go to. If Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow is any indication that he's going to something that was not made to sell existing movies or to based on anything that they had already there. Like what I mean is it wasn't supposed to like create an IP, and it is doing that, but that's what we should be doing, right? Like, we should let creators make cool stuff, take risks, be inventive, and then if it makes sense to adapt it into a film that somebody thinks people would actually want to go watch, then you make that into a movie. And I think that's a lot more likely to happen now at the DC side than the Marvel side. But I would have already said that. But, like, this just seems like the nail in the coffin.
Interesting super chats.
Anyway, DJ is preoccupied by super chat, so we're going to go ahead and just move on now to questions. Feel free to ask us about those lead-in topics or anything else you want to talk about for the remainder of the show. We've got about 25 minutes still before the break, so keep the questions coming, guys, in whatever form you'd like to ask them. And DJ, go right ahead, sir.
All right. First super chat of the night from T-Edge1, $5. Why does everything have to be all or nothing with people nowadays? Just imagine him shouting at clouds while he was saying that.
I don't know. Speaking of someone that can't help but somewhat have that mentality myself sometimes, I can certainly sympathize with that. But yeah, that's a real broad kind of vague statement, right?
Yeah, it's one of those ones that assumes, that gives us a premise that we have to accept as true.
Yeah, we have to buy into it before we can even answer it.
But I do get what he's saying, yeah.
Yeah, I know, I understand it too. It is certainly a blanket statement, and everything is going to be more complex than that, of course. That was also a blanket statement. Did you see what I did there? Because it was an absolute. I said everything. But that is the sort of absolute that is true. Like things are always more complicated than they appear at first glance, where yes, it's easy to go everybody these days has to be on one side or another. Look how divided we are. I'm sure that's what he means by that. But of course, not everybody is that way. And not everybody is that way about every sort of thing. But yes, it certainly does feel that way sometimes. I tend to blame social media for these kinds of things more than anything. There's certain, I don't know. It's not a political show, so I don't want to get into the politics of it. But and I don't know enough to do that anyway. But I feel like there's certain things in history that you can track back that make it kind of clearer why like groupthink happens as bad as it does now. Kind of tribalism, that kind of stuff. And so like I think that's one of the big culprits. Like whatever you want to blame tribalism on, that in and of itself leads people to be more extreme in their in their ideas and their their expectations for things.
Well, if we just look at it, just like the internet in general, just from like a journalism standpoint, because like everyone is a journalist now, and the only thing, it's all based on getting clicks, and the only thing that sell is extremes in one direction or the other. So like, no one's gonna click on an article that's like, the new Shazam movie is fine. Like,
yeah,
you have to.
What a terrific point. No, I'm
Either
glad you
injure
said
someone
that.
or get people to click on it because they agree with you.
Yeah, nuance doesn't sell. And I know that, and I do it anyway because my life would be no fun if I just tried to be, really one-sided about everything. It would be lying, because I see both sides in a lot of issues, and even with movie critique and stuff, where I'm like, if gun to my head, if I have to say do a sign flip, green or red, I will flip it one way, and then I'll spend an hour and a half explaining why.
Yeah.
Just because I go green doesn't mean here are some things that aren't working great in this movie, and same thing, the other direction. But you're right, like the on mass, people don't like nuance, or I guess I should say they're not noticing nuance.
Or they don't have time for nuance.
Yeah,
it's going so quick.
You're gonna
give me the
and there's too much vying for your attention. So
TLDR.
Yeah, so they're gonna click on a thing that that looks crazy before they're going to click on something that's like, this is just information you need to have.
They're just going to read the title and not click on the article.
That's all they look at. Yeah. It's not, you're right. News is not about news anymore. And that was arguably true even before the internet. People like to point to the 24-hour news cycle for being the thing that really gets us disinterested in fact overall, so much as like sensationalism and the entertainment factor of news. And the sad thing is, I think a lot of people are drawn to, and I think I'm guilty of this to some degree too. I think maybe we all are, DJ. I feel like a lot of people don't even think that they look at news for entertainment value and that they just want to know what's going on, but they can't help but be drawn to things that are sensationalized in some way or another. I think we're all guilty of that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I wonder quite a bit. This is a little off topic, but I wonder sometimes why, how much of this is just primal, why I'm like drawn to looking at certain like stories or documentaries and things that are not like exactly meant to be entertainment, but I've got like very few hours in my week where I could just sit down and watch something. And lately it's been like true crime stuff. Like, why is that? It's like I'm not watching like like Animaniacs or The Tick. I'm watching like here's this here's this guy that like brutally murdered his girlfriend, and like, but like I've been kind of interested in some of those things, and while I'm looking at it, I'm not thinking like I'm having such a good time because this guy murdered his girlfriend, but I can't look away though. You know what I mean? Like I find it interesting, and so I guess on some level I'm entertained by it, right? And so I guess the way that's relevant to this discussion is just to say there's some degree of that brings people to look at sensationalized news, and most of it is now.
Yeah.
And most people couldn't even confirm the things that they see in titles when they don't actually read the whole article. But they just assume that because it was on the internet, it must be true. Isn't that crazy? Like, it was already bad that you'd go, well, if the news on television tells me something is true, it must be true. Now there's not even a source. You know, I mean, that was too much power, and you could be a news outlet. I'm not going to name any names. You could be a news outlet and really take advantage of that, and people could just assume that you know what you're talking about. And there are lots of examples of, you know, national news and even local news operations doing that kind of thing, spinning things, and in certain instances even like photoshopping stuff to make you think something is happening that's really not happening. That's really messed up. Isn't it a lot worse where your source is the internet? That's like saying your source is the sidewalk, right? It's not even a person. You just go, well, it was online. Like, oh, Wikipedia said it, it must be true. We can all edit that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Scary times.
It's yeah. Like, there's no, I don't know, there's no standard of quality anymore. There's pros and cons to everything, right? Like, it's wonderful that everybody has a platform and everybody has a voice now. Mm-hmm. But nothing gives
American dream.
Nothing gives you credibility.
You don't need it.
And you should. But then at the same time, if the thing that gives you credibility is that you're working for an institution that may not be as above board as it looks because the people in power are taking advantage of that power, you know, of the fact that people believe in them, that's really bad too. Which of these is worse? It feels like that first thing is worse. I don't know if it is. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Society is hard, man.
We live in a society.
Do we, though?
It's becoming less and less one as we go on. Dystopian society soon. Let's go back to Ian Nixick.
And folks, that's what happens. I just got to say this. When you ask a question that is that broad. Hey, Mr. Nixick, if memory serves, left us a super chat last show, a couple of them. And I had not heard that name before, and I am pretty sure that we did not celebrate his first super chat.
I would have to go back and look at the minutes from the last show. But,
I'm pretty sure we didn't. We had another guy toward the end that we did. But Nixick, I think we got a couple of the chats from early on. So I think, I may be wrong about this, but I don't think anybody's going to begrudge it. I think we should do that right now, as if this was his first one. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I wanna take you for a ride.
We're celebrating his ostensible first super chat.
His third.
Nixick. Nixick. All right, what's the question, sir?
The question that Mr. Nixick asks
Vic Sage
is.
Oh, he says I've commented before. Well.
Oh, we take it back.
And I'm sorry that I forgot your name.
What a waste.
We do have enough commenters. I sometimes make that mistake, but you know what? It gave us an excuse to take you for a ride.
Taking him for a ride, and the ride Nixick wants us to go on is about poison ivy. And I've lost it. Here it is.
That would be even vaguer than the last question. The question is about poison ivy. Now you have to play Jeopardy and guess at what the question is.
Poison ivy lording over Central Park like she did in the Gotham Central comics would also be cool for the second movie. With the city now flooded.
But if they have the resources for it, it would be also cool to see that in the Arkham series. See, here's the thing. What we don't know is how much time will have taken place in between the first and second movie. And we know that the Penguin show is like 6 seconds after that movie. Like everything I've read makes it sound anyway like it's a power grab show. And it's kind of like No Man's Land. and there's all these mob bosses, vying for power, and he's one of the big ones, and the show focuses on him. So there are two big possibilities, I think, with the Batman Part 2. One of them is it takes place at the same time as part of that show, and and also when I said the Arkham show, there's two shows, the Penguin show and the Arkham show. I don't know when that happens either, right? So it's possible that the Batman Part 2 would take place like parallel to one or both of those shows. Or it's possible that it's months or years in the future past those. And I don't think anybody knows if those shows are supposed to be miniseries or if they're multiple season shows, or I've not heard that. Somebody let me know if that's information we have. If they've even said like Penguin is 6 episodes, 8 episodes, not gonna get a sequel, is just a standalone, thing like Obi-Wan Kenobi or whatever. Although I guess that's supposed to get a second season, so that's a bad example. But you got a bug? What's happening over there?
Bug trying to get in my cup. Get out of here, like a fruit fly or something.
Oh man, don't bother me. But I agree with you that it would be really cool to see that with Poison Ivy. I kind of want, for the reason I mentioned earlier with Clayface, I kind of want stuff like that in one or both of the HBO Max shows to just pull the curtain back a little bit and give us a sense of what is possible in this universe.
Yeah, bring on Poison Ivy.
Also, I hope they don't go too grounded with that stuff, personally. I think I'm hearing things on both sides where some people are going, well, maybe in a perfect world, I would like to see that stuff also, but they made a movie that's too grounded for it. I just don't agree with that. And I think that if Matt Reeves does go to those places, he will probably turn everybody around on it.
I mean, he takes like a super steroid, like adrenaline pill at the, like a magic thing at the end. That's a little heightened.
It's not really magic, it's adrenaline. If you took a shot of adrenaline, that's what it would do to you. I mean, that's one of the things that people are actually pointing to it, making it really heightened. The only way he could get out of that situation was to pump himself up full of adrenaline. That, like, some people say that makes it more real-worldy.
Oh, interesting. Well then,
I've heard both sides to that too. See, why is everybody all or nothing these days?
I just want to sing the song from Oklahoma. Shall we move on to Checkers the Inventor?
Absolutely.
$2 super
Oh,
chat.
Cinemographic says epinephrine.
Epinephrine.
Roboto's 100. I don't think the Batman was all that grounded. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it really was either. And I've read lots of Batman stories that are at about that level that just don't happen to mention any of the, super science or, that kind of stuff. Now, will the Batman universe go to magic? I don't know. I would think probably not. That might be where they draw the line. I think they might do things sort of like Azrael. I don't know if we'll see Azrael in that universe, but I could see it where there's kind of a big question mark about whether there's anything actually mystical going on with some of that. But John Ty, that's a terrific point too. He says because he's not doing the I'm Batman thing. And maybe that makes it feel more grounded to people. Anyway.
Checkers the Inventor, $2.
Hi.
Would you accept a seamless AI Kevin Conroy voice?
On the face of it, on principle, I want to say no. I'm so sticky with that, DJ. How do you feel about it? Where do you draw the line when it comes to artificial performance?
I gotta say, I don't like it. I don't like the idea of it because you're basically coming right out and saying we don't care about artistic integrity. We care more about creating a feeling of nostalgia for the audience than actually letting a new actor do their thing.
Boy, that's a terrific point. So you're saying even if you couldn't tell it wasn't a person, the fact that the goal is just remind people of their childhood as opposed to moving forward and doing anything new. But like, what if we did this with something in the first place, where you didn't hire an actor for a job, and you hired a voice actor, or even you used an AI, or even you used a CG AI sometime in the future, where somebody walks into a theater or streams at home and cannot tell that what they're looking at is not a real performance, and the performance is even like Oscar worthy. Then what do you do? Then where do you draw the line? Because I mean, again, on principle, I want to say human beings should still be doing all this stuff, and human beings should be writing things. But then we're using computers to make things look more real. Like there's already a certain amount of AI, if that's even the right term, in cutting corners and making it easier for like visual artists to render, a lot of detail in buildings and cars and the sky, etc. Where do we draw the line? When does it stop being art?
Well, when there's not an artist, like we have all of these tools to help visual effects artists do their job, but they're still in charge. They're still controlling it. They're still creating their vision. So if there was someone that had to manipulate the voice, like if there was still an artist, but if you just plop down a script and they have an AI that's good enough to just read it and sound like a real person, I don't know.
I just feel like we're going to get to a place where the technology will get so good that the goalpost will keep getting moved. And an artist will be able to say, I came up with the concept, so it's mine, and look, I did an artistic work. You know what I mean? I thought to tell ChatGPT or whatever it is, to tell it to create this performance. Give me Batman. Here's like 3 things I want him to do, and it looks like a person wrote it. Oh, it looks like a person acted it, and it came from someone's head in the most technical, generic way. I just feel like the definition is going to keep changing.
I say again, scary times.
Yeah.
It's just the end times episode. Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, I'm sure it's. I mean, I already see ChatGPT or whatever it's called, like advertised on social media. Like, what are you doing? Quit sitting around writing your school essays. Just use us. I'm like, you guys are horrible human beings.
Yeah.
Whoever marketing this thing, like, no, don't ruin the youth. Tell the youth to write essays with your stupid AI software. It's terrible.
But the problem is, we would be naive to assume, and this is such a depressing show tonight, guys, I apologize, but we would be naive to assume that our culture is going to think 3 centimeters from its nose on this. Like, we already, call me an old man on a lawn or whatever, but like telling kids to get off my lawn or whatever, but we already have created a world where kids don't need to learn arithmetic because we have calculators. Kids don't think they need to have a basic foundation of history or science or literature or anything because they can look up anything on the internet. People don't have to, and I'm guilty of this, people don't have to know where they're going physically in life because all you have to do is have your phone tell you how to get to anywhere you want to go. There is no possible way that we're going to be responsible about this as a culture. And all of the science fiction novels of the 50s and 60s warned us about this. Or a lot of them did, of course, the over-reliance of technology. And when I was growing up, I was kind of scared, and I felt like we were already there. We were relying too much on technology. And the AI doesn't have to literally become self-aware before it runs us. And a person could make an argument to me that it already does, and it might be a compelling argument.
But the good thing is art will always be around. Art is something that artists have to get out it's not, obviously there'll be people who are lazy and are just trying to make money with like the mainstream movies and stuff, and they're just trying to get something out as easy as possible with a little effort. But artists aren't, that's not what artists are doing. There'll always be like real art being made because that's just what we have to do. We have to get it out of us.
Can I counter that?
Sure.
You're absolutely right. You will always have artists that have to make their art. Are we raising a generation that will not be able to tell the difference?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of people that watch really crappy blockbuster movies right now. I mean, we're already there.
Oh, no, of course. But what I mean is a generation of kids. I don't mean the difference in quality of storytelling. That's not even just a generational thing. There's a lot of people my age that don't know the difference there, and that bothers me. If I can be prudish about it for a minute, but I'm worried that we're going to raise a generation. I'm sorry for being depressing. I'm afraid we're raising a generation that will grow up and do two things. They won't know the difference between something that you made and an AI made, and they won't know the difference between they made a thing and they told a computer to do it, so they made a thing.
Yeah.
That scares me.
Yeah, that's fair.
These are one of the many things that makes me feel like we are collectively losing our humanity.
Yep.
It starts with we don't talk to each other anymore, and then it just all goes downhill from there. I mean, physically in a room, I think the real problem, I'm only half joking when I say this, I think the real problem, DJ, began when we stopped couch co-op playing video games.
Well, the real problem was when we started playing video games before that.
Oh. You know what? I mean, when you're right, you're right. We stopped reading books.
Stop going outside.
Isn't that ironic? That the two big things that led to the possible eventual loss of our humanity is we stopped looking at each other in the eyes and talking to each other in a room, and we started just texting each other like the waffles we had for breakfast. And also, we quit staring into a book for several hours and just reading it. Like, those are the two things. They're both really important.
Well, from here on out, Geekvolution will be working on our own personal nationwide EMP that we will be launching to get us back on track.
I mean, I want to think that at some point, a lot of us just realize that we've taken stuff too far and certain things just won't sell well enough to take off the way it looks like they might. This has already happened to some degree, for example. But I don't even think it's because we collectively realized it was a bad idea so much as just people are set in their ways, and also you can't look at this technology for more than 15 or 20 minutes at a time, a lot of us. Virtual reality has not taken off the way people thought it was going to. The premise of Ready Player One is not exactly going to happen, I don't think. Even in my lifetime, because you're seeing like the PlayStation VR 2 not selling the way they thought it was going to. Like, they thought that they finally had like the wave of the future and video games were going to, like really start moving more in that direction. There is still a place for VR, but it has stayed niche. It's been niche for 10 years, and it's been viable for 10 years, but it stayed pretty niche. And I bring that up because that's a thing that totally isolates you, where you're in a like three-dimensional space all by yourself, and you could, if we had a game that was big and expansive enough, you could like literally lose yourself in that, like people already do with MMORPGs and those kinds of things. But I mean, that happens even with phone games and stuff, right? Like, it doesn't have to be a super complicated graphic interface, but it didn't work with VR. Like, the meta thing is not catching on like Google thought it was going to. That's a lot of money lost if that goes the way it looks like it's going to. So I don't know, like, I don't want to say there's no hope at all, and I can't tell you what the future is gonna bring, but do I have reason to be concerned that we're raising a generation that won't be able to tell the difference between art that DJ made and art that my phone made? Yeah, that's potentially that's a potential problem.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of that is like just personal temperament and personality. Some people like to be isolated and introverts, and some people just don't care for that. Just want to be out with people. Still go to bars and clubs and stuff.
But again, I'm saying so far, it's just like you're talking about people that were adults before this happened.
But I think that's just in your genes, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. We can't like force all people to be introverts.
No, that's true, but you can create a culture where there's not enough incentive to go outside. It is possible to be an extrovert and get everything you think you need out of that just online, on YouTube, on Discord. You know what I mean? Like, I know lots of extroverts that still don't go out that much. You know, I just like the whole culture is disincentivizing us more and more from even leaving our houses. It feels like.
I don't know. I feel weird when I go to work and I'm an introvert. Like those people everyone likes to go out to bars after work and like hang out and like. Yeah. We're very isolated in our little bubble. I think sometimes. Like movie watcher people, whatever we're called. But
sure.
Like, yeah, I definitely feel there's definitely, because I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why are you guys going out in public all the time? Why do you want to go to a sporting event where there's thousands of people around? That sounds terrible.
But you see what my concern though, that we could be raising kids that wouldn't be interested in doing that.
Yeah, some of us, but I mean, those people are raising their kids to be like them.
Yeah, so far. I don't know. It's just it's hard to know what it's going to be like, and it just feels like everybody lives, like you said, in a bubble now. Like we don't really have the collective experience that we used to, and so I never feel. This is going to sound stupid. I kind of never feel qualified to talk about anything, at least in like what's currently happening in the culture and how people interact with each other, because I know that my experience is different from enough other people, but I don't know what their experiences are like. It just, you know, it was easier when everybody saw the same, you know, 5 major blockbusters and watched the same 5 major TV shows and all that. It's not like that anymore. Like everybody's looking at different things, and it gives you a skewed perspective. And would you agree with this? I think everyone has a skewed perspective now. I think you have to.
Yeah. Everything is,
or at least.
Yeah. Especially the internet, everything's skewed, you know, tailor-made for you, so they can sell you crap.
Yeah, exactly. But also, there's just, I know I say this phrase all the time, but there's just so much vying for your attention that, like, we all live in different spheres, in different worlds, and it's nice that there's something for everybody. But
yeah, that's the positive side of it.
We're certainly taking a hit in another way by having that. Let's go ahead and go to the break, because we are 5 minutes after the hour, and let's try to talk about something silly and lighthearted when we get back. Folks, leave us some questions, would you? Help direct the conversation. We'll go for another hour when we get back, if there is enough interest, and we appreciate you guys. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Captain Logan Show. It's time for the second half of the show, and we are looking for questions. We're asking you guys, as always, to help direct the conversation, and the conversation can be about whatever you want it to be about. But first, I want to mention what's going on tomorrow night, give you a quick announcement. I meant to do this at the beginning of the show. Tomorrow night, Austin and I are going to be doing a mini marathon on a show that I haven't seen in a long time and that he has never seen, which will be interesting. So I will come with no insights whatsoever, but we're going to watch it and respond to it as we're going. No. Well, we're still in Bat March, so we got to do another Batman show. But we're going to watch some Beware the Batman.
Ooh.
And it should be interesting. I don't know which episodes we're going to do yet. We'll at least watch the pilot, and I think it might have even been in like 3 or 4 parts. So honestly, we may just watch the first few episodes of that show, honestly. It may not make as much sense to skip around because that was a somewhat serialized show. So anyway, that should be interesting. We were going to review a comic, but I didn't have enough time to get that prepared, and we haven't done a lot of TV yet this month, so I thought it might be cool to do that. I was between that and Brave and the Bold, and then when Austin told me he'd never seen Beware the Batman, I was like, people are going to want us to talk about that, or at least watch it with them. So that'll be fun. You'll get to see Alfred with a shotgun.
Ooh. Not in the nude, though. You got to go to a different show for that.
That's very true. Yeah.
Still never gonna give up on my hope to get the cape on the channel in some form.
Yeah, I'll do it someday. I've always wanted to do something on that. Yeah, maybe I'll do some kind of overview thing on that at some point, or do a mini marathon on a Friday, and it'll be fun to watch no one show up for that.
Hey now.
They won't though. People hated
so
that show.
Cape. The Cape is about a circus.
Look, of the 19 people that watched that, it was pretty divided, DJ. And that was an unprecedented thing. When that came out on, because it got canceled real fast, and then when it released on DVD, I immediately saw it in the $5 bin. Like, as it came out, it was $5. I've never seen that.
Come on. Everyone has this in their homes. Everybody whip out your copy of The Cape with slipcover.
It's funny. It's funny. I saw it in the $5 bin. I think I never actually bought a copy. I should have.
Look at that guy, the villain. The mobster has snake skin on his face.
Yeah. I still can't tell if you like that show ironically, if you just actually like that show. I still can't tell.
Come on, right around the same time as No Ordinary Family.
Remember No Ordinary Family? And I don't have a copy of that either, and I should.
I should send you both of these for your collection.
Okay, I don't appreciate the air quotes. You're pissing me off now. Why'd you do that? Why'd you say collection?
Just because it's like, because you have to have all this stuff that you don't even like.
You're like, that's not a real collection. I'm over here, I don't even collect all the superhero stuff. I have this crap. It was $5. Spend $5 by No Ordinary Family and The Cape. I bet at this point I could get both of them together for $5.
Yeah, you go on Amazon or eBay. They're probably not on Amazon these days.
No, you keep them, because when I buy them, then I can force you to do a show with me on them.
Yeah, we'll do a watch along that
no
one will watch.
You know, I didn't hate No Ordinary Family.
No, it was fun, especially at the time. It was ABC Studios superhero show. Yeah, that was still back on the tail end of, like, we were still excited about everything superhero.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That was just after Heroes.
Yeah, 2011.
Or maybe Heroes was even still on in, like, its last season.
Yeah, both of these are 2011. Yeah, see? Right around the same time.
Right around the same time. Yep. No, Chickless was fun in that. Now, I didn't buy him married to, what's-her-face from Buffy. I didn't buy that. But,
and isn't the daughter
Buffy the Angel?
Doesn't the daughter from this come back in, like, Flash? I can't remember who she is. I know her from
I don't remember. Yeah, it's been too long since I've seen that show. I remember it not having a great ending, but it actually got an ending.
Well, it ended on, like, a cliffhanger, kind of.
Oh, did it? I thought it had, like, an actual ending.
Because there was supposed to be, like, a bunch of people with powers right at the end.
Oh, okay, so it had the 4400 problem. I see. All right, well, moving right along. Tom says he has that. I'm assuming he means the Cape, but he might mean Ordinary Family. I don't know. He has both of them. He bought them together. There should be a slipcase for both of them. Was that even the same network?
ABC and what the heck was the Cape on?
I don't remember what the Cape was on. Was that an NBC show?
Yep, NBC Universal.
Okay, there you go. See, NBC is thinking we had a superhero show in Heroes that was one of the most successful shows on television right then. And yeah, it fell off and people don't care anymore, but maybe we can do that again.
Yeah, this has like 22 episodes or something crazy. This only got like, what is it, 6? This
No,
got
No Ordinary Family only got 13.
Oh, was it only 13?
I think.
I don't remember, but I remember it was way more than this. This is just
No,
short.
it got canceled quick. No, the Cape was like 7 or 8 episodes, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah.
You know, and I know what ABC was or NBC was thinking with the Cape too, DJ. They were like, we're gonna have all these
circuses.
We're gonna have all these great spin-offs to the Cape. We're gonna have the utility belt. We're gonna have
the cowl.
We're gonna have the gauntlets.
The cowl is actually a cool name. That could be a Batman show.
That's better than the Cape, actually. You can't be a cape. You wear a cape.
It's better that both are better than the Blur, the Blue Blur. But that's
the red blue blur. It's even worse than you're thinking.
The red blue blur.
Yeah, he's red and blue.
Because he wears a red jacket and blue jeans.
The red blue blur, and then that doesn't even inspire
like
his
French.
costume because it just comes from Krypton in the first place. You have all these things that are supposed to seed someday Clark will come up with this costume, and then it's just handed to him. It's so convenient. It just happens to be. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get there in Crypto Freaks.
I can't wait.
Season 3 next month. Tell your friends. Counting Crypto Freaks: The Revenge returns.
All right, shall we move on? We got a super chat from that's just for me. Sorry to
No, that's
disappoint
okay.
you,
I can
Cap.
use a nap. Go ahead.
Jonathan Campbell, $2. DJ, what is your favorite level in Spider-Man PS1? Now, did you ever play this game, Cap?
We talked about it. I have not.
Oh, it's still the best Spider-Man game.
You
to
know
this day.
what? I found that at a game store the other day. I almost bought it.
Oh, I love it so much.
I
It's
should
got my
have.
favorite Spider-Man voice, Rhino Romano. What is this, the Bad Guy Olympics? So many quotable lines in that movie, and it is the Bad Guy Olympics because it's just every villain. It's amazing.
You mean that game?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said
like-
movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. But he says, he says, what's my favorite level? I don't know if you know this, Cap. At the end of the game, you beat. Spoiler alert, guys. You beat Carnage, or first you beat Doc Ock, and then you go up like you're in a tower, like a Enter the Dragon type situation, and then you go up and you beat Carnage, and then the symbiote falls off of Cletus Cassidy through the floor and gets on Doc Ock, and Monster Ock is an original villain they made for that game, and he's the final boss.
Oh, that's where Monster Ock comes from.
Yes.
Because I think they made a pop figure of him or something. I never knew what that was.
It's awesome and terrifying. Watch a playthrough of the final level, and you can't fight him. All you do is you're just running out of the building as it's falling down. It's a chase level. There's a couple chase levels in that game. It's really cool. You also have to run from Venom, or you have to chase Venom, and then you fight him.
Yeah, I need to finally play that.
And he can.
I wonder how playable it is now. Like, I wonder if the controls are horribly dated.
I mean, I don't know because it's so. I beat that game a million times, so I've played it recently, but it's just like in my DNA to play that game. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, Spider-Man 2 is pretty easy to go back to. It has a pretty solid control scheme, and I'm not sure how different it is from the first one, but
Yeah, it wouldn't have it doesn't have like good swinging. Like it's just like you hold the button and swing like the first Spider-Man Raimi game.
AMC Comics claims that I played it on the Dreamcast, but if that's okay, so if it's the same game, I do own it, but I think I put that in when I bought it and played it for a few minutes, but I haven't actually done a playthrough. But let me look that up. If it is indeed the same game, DJ, it means I do own it.
I didn't know it was on
So I
Dreamcast.
can
I knew
play
it was on N64 and PlayStation. I played PlayStation version. I never played the N64 version. But yeah, what was so cool about the game is it had all the costumes, like everything that we have now in Spider-Man games, like started there. It had so many cameos from other Marvel superheroes, like Johnny Storm and Captain America.
Sorry about that.
Right when I said Storm, I felt like I was in one. It had and Stan Lee narrates it. Like it starts out. It's so good. I love that game so much. Mysterio's in it, Lizard's in it, Scorpion's in it, Black Cat's in it, Rhino. It's like everybody. It's like my childhood. There it is. I don't think you'll like the first level actually. The first level you have to break into a bank and stop these crooks right here that are trying to rob the bank. And there's some places where you can get lost. I feel like you might get lost a little navigating. I know you don't like navigating.
Thanks.
No,
Thanks
you
for
just.
that. I don't know what it is. I got a really insulting chat moderator tonight.
No, you have personally admitted you don't like navigating like layouts, like with maps and stuff.
No, that's true. I have admitted that. Thanks for bringing it back. I'm just kidding. No, I will definitely play this, especially because I think I have it.
And there's a whole level.
I like the Dreamcast controller a lot more than the PlayStation controller, so I'm glad I have it on Dreamcast. But yeah.
There's a whole level of symbiotes. Like that's the whole plot of the game is they're making symbiotes and they're purple. This is like before all the symbiote. I guess maybe separation anxiety was already a thing.
Well, no, it would have been because this is 01. That was 97.
But they don't pull from any of that. These are just like original symbiotes, and like there's these purple symbiotes going around as like the thugs, and you have to shoot them with like fire webbing. It's really cool. Yeah, there's Lizard.
So is this exactly the same game?
It looks like it.
Because we are looking at the Dreamcast version here.
You can completely miss Lizard. Lizard is just in the sewer level, and you have to walk. If you find him, you talk to him. He's not involved.
So he's like a side mission kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's not. He's just like talks to you for a minute.
Oh, okay.
But he's not a boss in the game. They have so many other villains for you to fight.
But yeah, I should take a look at this. I don't have any.
There they are. There's the symbiotes.
I wouldn't have any great way to record gameplay for this, unfortunately. I should get an adapter at some point for composite to HDMI. Anyway, well, thanks for bringing that up.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. You got me the feels. I have to figure out a way to play that. I wish they would do a remaster, or at least make it playable like on the PS4 network or something. Like, it's annoying that I have to stick the PS1 disc in my PS3 that I don't have hooked up.
You gotta wonder what the rights issues are with some like old superhero games with whatever the developer was, versus like who owns the characters now and that kind of thing.
MC says the only Spider-Man game on Dreamcast is the PS1 game, so it's the same. Hope you like it, Cap.
Yeah, cool. I didn't know that. Thanks.
And then there's a sequel too. Enter
now
Electro.
I have even more of a reason to try it. Roboter says, DJ, you should emulate it. Yeah, there's decent PS1 emulators.
Yeah, I'm a dummy with that kind of stuff. I'll talk to Cap about it because I don't know anything about that stuff.
It's very, very easy.
Well, I've just never even looked into it at all. But I should. Just to play my childhood a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, T-Edge 1.
There's no company making any money on that right now, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, it's not stealing.
Hi, Tom.
Agreed. AMC says it's the best along with Ultimate Spider-Man. I agree. That's my second favorite.
And I need to play that too. That I definitely don't have a copy of.
That one you need to because you can be Venom.
I know. I know. We've had this conversation too many times, but I don't play video games hardly at all anymore. It sucks. Or when I do, it's like 15, 20 minutes at a time. Like,
yeah. Yes, they're talking about the sequel. There is a sequel to PS1 that's called Enter Electro, but that is only on the PS1. So if you wanted to play the sequel, you'd have to get that one.
Is that one any good?
I didn't play that one as a kid. I didn't play that one until I was way, way, way older as an adult, so I don't have any connection to it nostalgically. But it's the same. It's just like a continuation. It's the same gameplay with different villains and stuff.
Cool.
Back to Ian Nixick. Is it Ian or Ian? I'm gonna go with Ian because that's the more common. But if you could be like Mythic Quest and call yourself
He
Ian.
didn't correct you the last, or he didn't tell you the last time you asked that, so I'm gonna assume it's the normal pronunciation. Anyway,
let's go with Nixick. 199 favorite Batman comic arc yet to be adapted. Oh, put you on the spot.
Yeah, and adapted like in any way ever, because of course there's stuff that we have adapted that I think we could do better. Like the only No Man's Land adaptation we have so far is friggin' Gotham. I mean, there's like anything close to a straight up adaptation where they actually call it that. Because with Rises has elements of it. But obviously, I'd like to see that done better. Let's see. Let me think a minute. For a long time, it was Gotham by Gaslight, but we have had that now and again. It's fine. That could also be done better. One of the big ones, and I do bring this up quite a bit. One of the big ones is Speeding Bullets, which is actually technically a Superman story, but it's Superman raised by raised by the Waynes as Bruce Wayne, so it is kind of a Batman story. And it's weird we haven't done that yet. I just bought an action figure of that a couple weeks ago, DJ.
Oh wow.
DC Direct did one, and it's awesome.
Nice.
I couldn't believe it. But that's the first thing that comes to mind. And
buying action figures again, that's dangerous territory.
yeah, I mean, I very rarely do it. Every now and again, something will come out that is, I don't know, like, kind of buying back your childhood, or, because there's a lot of re-releases of, like, old Ninja Turtles figures and stuff like that coming out right now that some of them I kind of want. I bought, did I show you guys this? I got the big Donatello. I think maybe I did a video on this.
Yeah.
But I got that because this was a toy that I always wanted when I was a kid, never got one. And I had friends that had the big ones, but I never got them. So I was like, yeah, $25. I'm gonna put that in the bunker. So I bought that.
Yeah, because I had the big movie one, the big movie Donatello.
Yeah, those are cool.
My grandma found it in a sandbox and brought it home to me. And it had like its toe bitten off by a dog, but it was still cool.
Another title I'm going to throw out, I would love to see some of the early stories. This is fresh in my mind because I did a little bit of one of these recently, but I would like to see some of the stories from the, what is that book? Legends of the Dark Knight? Like Shaman. I'd like to see Shaman done. A couple of those stories.
Cool.
And just more like, I don't know, 80s Englehart that the like 70s and 80s Englehart that the animated series didn't get to. And there's a ton of stuff. There's a million things.
You just want to see that classic blue suit.
Yeah.
Screen.
I'm sure a lot of people want White Knight. Yeah, for more recent things, I'd like to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I keep forgetting what that's called. The kind of precursor to The Batman, which wasn't actually in that continuity, but was written by the co-writer of that we reviewed a few weeks ago. I can't think of the name of that right now, but that would make for a good animated film, especially if you tried to. You could probably like tweak it and then tie it into that continuity and just make it The Batman thing. That would maybe be a good idea. I'm all over the place right now. We've been talking about so many things. We were in Spider-Man and now we're in Batman, and I cannot remember the name of that. Anyway,
I will be of no help.
and I think that Catwoman book that we did, Lonely City, wouldn't be bad either. The Imposter, that's what that's called. Yeah, that could be an animated film.
You know what else could be an animated film?
What's that?
The Cave.
The Cave. Well, there's probably little enough material in the 8 episodes that they could turn it into just a movie.
That's true. I just like circuses, man. Any movie that's about a circus, I'm just on board.
Robotters 100, Cap with as many Elseworlds as they have been adapting. I bet we get it. Yeah, I think at some point they'll probably do that. That is a relatively popular one. And they just put out The Doom That Came to Gotham, which I don't know when I'm going to see that because I am like 6 or 7 behind on those, DJ. We've had all these direct-to-video animated movies that I've fallen behind on them. I keep forgetting to get those watched and review them. I've bought some of them, but I'm missing half of them, I think. But I think almost all of them are on HBO Max except for the most recent one. But yeah, that just came out this week. And somebody, before the show started, claimed that they're only... it might have been Blue Dragon 5. I forget who said it.
Yeah, I was just going to say this. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
He said, Cap, have you heard that no one can rent the Doom That Came to Gotham movie? You can only buy it. Physically, digitally, at full price. not even a digital buying option on Amazon.
Now, I do have to say, I wasn't sure if they ever had digital rental options on that or if you had to buy it right away because I've never done that with those. I've always just bought them when they came out or watched them on Max when they come out on Max. And a lot of those have been coming to HBO Max pretty soon after the initial releases. I don't think they ever do it day and date. They used to every now and again, but I think more recently they haven't been doing day and date ones, but maybe here in a few weeks you'll be able to watch that with a Max subscription. I don't know.
This is very surprising. You can buy it on Prime Video, you can buy a Blu-ray, you can also buy a 4K of Batman the Doom that came to Gotham. That's super surprising to me that they're willing to put that much money because there's so many titles now that don't get a 4K. Like,
oh no, they've done 4Ks for all of those.
That's so weird.
Like, at least, and I think they were doing it even before the relaunch, but at least since right after the New 52 inspired continuity. Yeah, well, and what will really blow your mind, DJ, is most of them have gotten steelbooks. And I think those are 4Ks.
Well, yeah, that's not the fact that they do a whole different transfer is so expensive and they don't make a lot of money. Like
that's true too.
Banshees of Inisherin, like so many movies from last year. Banshees of Inisherin, big Oscar-winning movie, only a Blu-ray with no.
I just think it's weird they get steelbooks because of how little those sell, but it's weird with 4K too because they don't sell great. I mean,
yeah.
Like the highest grossing of those more recently, they'll make like $1 million, maybe $2 million. That's all those do.
It's really surprising me they're putting that much money into those. Because usually a studio's just like, nah, just put it on Blu-ray.
Keep, after the Zaslav wave, I keep waiting for the announcement that line is canceled. I can't believe they haven't shut that wing down.
Well, you don't know how many were like in production, right? Like how many of these, because they're doing like 3 a year now, right?
Yeah, but they keep announcing them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what's weird about it is they seem to be sticking to the pace. Look, it's been a few months since they shut down one of the animation departments. What was it? Was it like Cartoon Network, and then they like merged it in with the rest of Warner's? Is that what I'm remembering? I forget. But I mean, like, that was only a few months ago. You'd think when that happened, we would have gotten an announcement that this got shut down.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm with you if there were a few that were in production, but like they're still working on them.
That's weird. It must just be a totally like self-sufficient arm of the studio that he doesn't need to interfere with very much. I don't know.
Maybe so. I mean, I've been surprised that they've been going for like the last decade. I keep waiting for the announcement that line gets canceled because they don't sell super well, but they have, I think, a good sense of how much money they can make from them because they consistently make about the same until you get a bigger release that makes a lot more. So like Dark Knight Returns did really well comparatively. It sold like 8 or 9 times what they usually do, and I've talked about the numbers on this before, but it's been a long time, so I forget what the numbers are. But this is the thing I've gone through on Rewind a lot. We're like just the numbers and how exactly these sell. But like I think Death of Superman had that, as crappy as that was, and more recently I think they got good numbers on Long Halloween. But like it seems like it's kind of a real easy production and then return. Like you have, and that's why they can't be more than 80 minutes because they know exactly what they'll cost. So it's like however much money that the initial production is, like I don't know, like $250,000, $500,000, whatever it is, and then they double that or quadruple that and get to $1 million. Like that's all they sell.
Mm-hmm. Must be selling pretty decent if they have the confidence to put out a 4K and a Blu-ray and probably a DVD too. Although it doesn't have DVD on Amazon. That's interesting.
AMC says, but the quality. See, I don't know if they put DVDs for those out anymore because I haven't seen one in a long time.
That's interesting because DVD is still by far the best-selling platform, way above Blu-ray and 4K.
Yeah,
which breaks my brain, but that's how it is.
Well, for some people just don't have. Well, I was gonna say some people don't have 4K TVs, but you'd think they'd still want Blu-rays. Like, yeah, I mean, even for me, where I don't feel the need to upgrade to 4K, I can still on a lot of stuff tell the difference between a DVD and a Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's 480p versus 1080p.
Yeah.
Like,
No, you're right. The only reason I kept buying DVDs for the longest time was to pull stills for Rewind. That was it. Like, I buy Blu-rays now.
Yeah, and I understand the whole 4K thing because you can't tell unless you've got like at least a 75-inch screen because adding more pixels, 2160 pixels, doesn't matter if they're all crammed into a smaller screen anyway. It's got to be a big, giant screen for you to be able to tell.
Well, and as you know, I mostly use projectors, so if I got a 4K projector, it would be worth it for me, I guess. But like that's a lot of apparatus I'd have to upgrade because I'd have to buy 2 new projectors and 2 new players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, unless I just did, I guess I could just have one. Because the nice thing is, at least these days, at least so far, if you buy a 4K, you still get the Blu-ray with it. So it's not like you'd only be able to play the 4K.
Yeah, you can still watch it and just have like the one place where you go watch those. That's how, well, that's kind of how it is. I mean, we watch things in the theater, but we also have like just a TV upstairs. But yeah, that's crazy that they've been running so long. Like, I can't even imagine how many are there. There's got to be like 40 by now. Like, that would be amazing to have. Like, if we had that many animated Marvel movies, I would just be in heaven, man. That's so cool that that DC fans have all those.
Yeah, it is. I wish more of them were good. Like, well, AMC Comics says the quality has been so good across nearly 20 years. I don't agree with that. I think it's been ultra hit and miss. And I think most of the movies that came out with respect, I mean, if you like them, more power to you. That means you get the experience DJ is talking about. Not me. Like I've been happier with them more recently, at least the ones that I've seen. But like I said, I'm several behind. But I think the quality's gotten better. But during the New 52 inspired continuity, I mean, there's like 3 or 4 of those that I like at all.
Yeah.
And those went for a long time. But yeah, 20 years. It's nuts.
That's crazy.
And that's a whole shared universe. I mean, it rebooted, and now I guess it's supposed to be another one. But that's another thing that I think a lot of people don't even realize is that that's a whole continuity. At a certain point, it starts becoming that. It's not a great one, but it is there. I think it would have been cool.
51. There's 51 of them. Sorry, I was counting. Doom That Came to Gotham is the 51st one. That's crazy.
And that's for like everything that they've put out. There's a lot of stuff that's like, some of it's in that New 52 continuity. Some of the ones during that continuity were out of continuity things, like the Suicide Squad movie with the Arkham continuity movie and stuff like that. But yeah, everything that falls under that umbrella. Yeah, they made a ton of them. And that's also not including all of the Lego stuff and all the superhero girl stuff. Like, that's the other thing is, not only has Marvel not been making animated movies, but DC's been making stuff both for kids and adults. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't even count in that line.
Yeah.
Like Batman Ninja Turtles doesn't even count in that line. It's a separate thing.
Yeah. Marvel dropped the ball on that, but they didn't have to. Like, they didn't need to branch out because they were doing so well on the big screen. But yeah, I wish they would have had an animated division for longer.
Yep.
That would have been cool.
Well, and then we didn't even get cartoon shows that any of us would want to watch. They were just like really generic, kiddie fight stuff that was kind of forgettable, kind of throwaway.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that because I don't even get who that's for. Like, what is a kid who's old enough to watch that can watch normal superhero TV shows. You're not like helping his development of the child's brain by watching that. Like, it's not even the argument of like educational television. It's just bleh.
No, and you can't even argue censorship because we didn't have as much of that problem at that point. It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't know who those are for. We got a super chat from Clinton Tilbury.
Is that a name you recognize?
I don't recognize it.
Me neither, but now I'm paranoid. We're gonna do the dance and play the song, and he's gonna be like, "I've left 15 different super chats. Well, you're gonna get it anyway, man. This is gonna become like our version of the birthday song at a restaurant. You know, when you go to like a Mexican restaurant and everybody shows up, somebody shows up in a big sombrero and like puts the sombrero on your head and they're like, happy birthday. And you're like, no.
I wanna take you for a ride.
I'm gonna get a sombrero now.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Whoa.
I wanna take you for a ride.
All right, would you kindly
Almost
read
broke my
the super
setup.
chat, sir, and stop breaking your desk?
Clinton Tilbury.
Yeah.
Which I have to read with a somewhat British accent. Hey, Cap, have you read any new Spawn comics since Spawn's universe launched?
I have not. I have not.
a big
yeah.
fan.
So that's fine. That honestly, that is fine. Yeah. I've been kicking around, maybe finally looking at some of that, but like, I've had such a tumultuous history with Spawn, and when I checked back in at 250, it was more of the same crap. Like, I did a review of that shortly after Spawn year, and it was this big, thick, oversized book where nothing happened, and it was McFarlane's standard, like, just padding the book out with pointless, boring dialogue, and the couple of times up to 300 that I would look at an issue, it was just more the same, and it still seemed like there was a ton of retconning and stuff. And you know, some people seem to really enjoy that stuff. I'm in the same place with it though that I was in the 90s, where I can't tell if people are reading it or if they're just buying it. Where it's like it got popular again, or relatively in comics, but it kind of just feels like this almost speculative thing where it's like, you know, 300's coming out and Spawn's like McFarlane's touting up how big of a deal it is that he's got the longest running independent book. It feels like people bought into that for some reason. It's like, I don't know, if I owned my own company, I could keep putting out a comic book. Like, I don't mean to take that away from him, because you know, my relationship with Todd McFarlane, not knowing the man or whatever, but just like, you know, studying him for a long time, it's so weird because I admire him a lot, but he also drives me insane. You know, like I have the same like love-hate thing with McFarlane that I do with Smallville, and not even Spawn, because Spawn's mostly just awful, but McFarlane. But anyway, I just feel like I don't want to take away from the fact that he wrote most of it and like kept it going, but at the same time, he's not a good writer and he shouldn't have been writing it, and you can tell a lot in his writing that it's kind of a chore for him. So it's impressive, but it's also kind of stupid.
Kind of sad.
Yeah, like if he'd been drawing it that whole time, I'd be like, that's amazing, 300 issues, you know? Like, where's all the talk about Stan Sakai and all of this with my brain's not working tonight. Usagi Yojimbo, who I'm not sure how long that's gone, but like he's consistently, I don't know if he's ever taken a break, but like he's put that book out since the 80s. And maybe it hasn't hit 300, but I bet it's close, you know, and he wrote and drew all of those. But we're supposed to, you know, applaud McFarlane for giving up on the drawing side 12 issues in and then writing most of it, and mostly just because it was like his baby and he couldn't stand to see other people writing it, even though when he gave other people the job, they made better they made better stories than he did. I don't know, so it's frustrating. So I can't get excited about going back and reading more McFarlane. Having said that, I think he's got somebody else writing it now, maybe, and he's got all these spin-offs with various spawns. Like they did, I think, a big like team-up book with different spawns. It was like a Spawn Avengers sort of thing. And then they've got Gunslinger going right now. I saw that at a comic shop the other day. So I don't know, like, I'm curious enough, I might, like, peek my head in at a few of those things in digital. I'm not going to start Spawn collecting again, because I sold my whole Spawn collection. And I got to be honest with you, DJ, I'm actually, like, as much as I've sometimes kind of regretted doing that, I'm actually kind of glad that I did, because I would have to buy all of this, and there's so much of it now. I keep wondering how long it's going to be before I could do a second Spawn year if I wanted to, like for, you know, single issues every day, because I ended at 220, and there have been over 80 issues since then. Actually, probably 100 since then now, because 300's been out for quite a while. And then there's all these spin-offs. I bet we're close collectively to another 200 issues of Spawn already.
Don't start thinking about Spawn Year Season 2, because then you'll have to start thinking about how close we are to a Marvel Mania Phase 3, and we don't want to think about that.
Roboter says, I still say 100% of it is just the art. Yeah, it's gotta be. I mean, I hope not. Obviously, it'd be cool if it got better than that. But why would I expect that from McFarlane after 25 years of writing that book? Roboter's, or is it 30 years? What am I talking about? And latest Spawn Batman was rough, but the art was nice with Capullo. Yeah, I thumbed through one of those and I went, yep, it looks like Capullo and McFarlane on Spawn with Batman in it. I went to a comic shop out of town. I was in Texas, and I bought a few things, and I was walking up to the counter, DJ, with the first issue of Spawn Batman in my hands just to put in the collection, and then I went, what am I doing? Because if I buy another book with Spawn in it, it's just going to be really weird that I don't have the other ones. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I still collect Batman, but I don't buy everything Batman. I even sold the original Spawn Batman books. Like, why would I buy that now?
It sounds like the inner monologues of an addict. Like trying not to get that first hit.
I know that's what it sounds like, but also, what would be the point of having it if I could just read it in digital?
Don't start thinking that way. That's how you become a non-collector. None of this makes sense. There's no sense to be made
what
of
DJ
this.
is really saying is I should just give up on comics and geeky things. And...
No, I'm saying don't. I'm saying don't even think about it, because once you start thinking about it, then you're like, wow, what am I doing with my life?
So are you telling me to just be impulsive? Is that what you're saying? I don't know what he's saying.
Just live life on the edge. That's what I always say.
I've never heard you say that. Not one time.
No longer am I the frugal Perlmutter in this relationship.
Clinton, see, when Clinton Tilbury left that, I love his name. He's going to be one of those guys where when he comes up, I can't say his first or last name. I got to say all of it.
Yeah, Clinton Tilbury.
Clinton Tilbury.
Such a cool name.
I sound drunk when I say it like that. I thought when he left that super chat, he might have been saying, I've read some of that Spawn and it's actually not bad and you should read it. He says, Spawn Batman is a perfect example of why Todd shouldn't write. And now I'm going to have to review it.
He just wants you to suffer. He wants to know if you've read it. He wants to see you squirm.
I do need to at least review that. I don't know if it's finished. It probably is done by now. Was it 4 or 6 issues? I don't even know.
Ryder says we have at least a year.
Oh, no.
For Marvel Mania. For Marvel Mania. I don't know. I think we already have more than we did in that second phase.
Well, and then the problem
that second phase was only like 15.
So I'm not announcing anything or whatever yet about this, but like, I don't know if another Marvel Mania is going to ever make sense at this point with the new commentary project I'm doing. I mean, I can bring DJ in for some of those because I still haven't decided if I'm doing those solo or if I'm going to have a co-host. But if I'm already doing superhero movie commentaries, yes, we already have a bunch of commentaries, and I'm going to be doing some on movies we've done already, but I don't know what the point is going to be of another Mania if I am doing this project. So you're basically going to already have, you're basically what the Superhero Rewind commentary project is going to be is a Mania that is a little bit more prepared for. Because it's going to come out every week. I mean, like, we only did Marvel Mania every 2 weeks. Like, this will be a lot more frequent. You're going to have a superhero movie commentary that you can watch a movie along with every week now. That's the plan, anyway. Once I come back from break next month, because I got to take 2 weeks off to write the movie. I'm making a movie, you guys.
Big Hollywood movie.
It's going to be better than that.
Better than The Room? That's high praise.
Yeah, that's actually my goal, is to make a movie better than The Room. I've already done that.
How many love scenes? Just the one?
Yes.
Okay.
No. No. Why does everybody have to be all or nothing these days?
Yeah. I mean, just a middling amount of love scenes is fine with me. I don't need all or nothing. got a super chat from Checkers the Inventor.
Thanks, Checkers.
This is the Spider-Man video game night.
Apparently.
I love it. We're stuck on it. So I don't know what this means. He said, DJ, did you think Spider-Man 2000 was based on TAS? Is he saying like, did I think it now until he said that, or did I think it growing up? I don't know what he's saying, but not really. No, it doesn't look anything like
it doesn't.
The show. All the villain character designs are all different. It has the voice. Like I said, it's Rhino Romano who voiced him in Unlimited, because that's just who was Spider-Man at the time. And that's the voice I always hear in my head, because that's what I heard the most, because I played that game all the time, and I only had a couple episodes of the TV show because they didn't release that on DVD. So I only had a few of those. So I never thought it was based on it. Like Scorpion is like blue and green in that. Doc Ock isn't the big, huge, like buff orange and yellow version. He's just like a guy in a scientist costume with a bowl cut.
Well, and if it's not a plot that mostly revolves around Kingpin, it's just not from that show.
Kingpin's not even in it.
See, there you go. I mean, PS4 Spider-Man is more a 90s animated Spider-Man game than Spider-Man from 2000. Actually, I think that game came out in 01, didn't it?
No, it's 2000.
Is it? Okay.
But yeah, no, I thought...
Well, maybe the Dreamcast version was 01, because probably, this long play says 01. It must have been a port.
Yeah, that must have been what it was. Yeah, I think it was made because of the popularity of that show. Kind of like, the Batman TAS was made because of 89. I think it was that kind of situation, just because Spider-Man was really big right there because of that show. But I don't think they were looking at that show at all. Because he's married to Mary Jane, and they already have all that history, and like Eddie Brock has already, like, they're already like friends. Like after you beat Venom, it's like the ally Venom. Like they get over their differences. It's really far. It's like adult Spider-Man. It's not like high school Spider-Man or college Spider-Man.
Which is my favorite Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool they did that in that game. Never got it since.
Really cool.
Well, I guess we kind of do now.
I got to go back to the Spawn thing for a minute. Clinton Dilbury says there is some good stuff out of it, though the regular Spawn book is good right now. He has someone else writing. See, I'd love to know if I could start with wherever that guy starts and just read some of that forward, because maybe there would be events and characters that he would go back to and reference, but like I don't care anymore. I don't need to, I haven't read Spawn in 10 years. Not all of that is going to stay with me anyway. It didn't have a cohesive continuity in the first place. McFarlane liked to make the past malleable and the present static. It's kind of the opposite of both how you write stories and how life works, right? The past is the way the past is. The present and the future can be, can change, can be whatever. But McFarlane had it backwards. What happens right now, that's static. The past, you just never know what's going to happen back then.
People are just quoting Venom from that. You're going to love... I hope you get to the Venom level in that game, because you're going to love him. He's so funny and quotable. People are just quoting Venom in the comments. We said we were sorry.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that, because I feel a little left out of my own show this evening.
Looks like you and your wife were innocent, Parker. Our bad. Our bad? I'm gonna kill you. Oh, it's so good. When they break into the Daily Bugle, and Venom's like, surf the web, surf the web, surf the web. So silly. Venom is goofy in that, kind of like he is in the movie.
Well, I'll get to that at some point. On my Spawn Dreamcast.
There you go. Full circle, 90s. What is a super chat? $2. What is the purpose of Wi-Fi? Is he just patronizing us?
I think he is, yeah. Well, if so, he should just become a patron. No, thanks. What is a super chat? The purpose of Wi-Fi is ostensibly so that I can go sit down at Hawaiian Brothers and eat my chicken and read a comic book on my tablet for work. But I say ostensibly because when I go to that restaurant, for some reason, it's a friggin' Wi-Fi dead zone right there, DJ, and I can't even get a phone signal. It's so bad that if I stop at the stoplight right in front of that building, whatever I'm playing on my phone shuts off. Like, I can't even get Spotify right there. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Wow. I love how you always have stories for his questions. He seems to tap into rants that you want to make but aren't going to make until he brings up.
I feel like it's the only way to answer those. Otherwise, you just stating the obvious. We don't know what Wi-Fi is for. I used it for too long for this show, and then finally got a really long Ethernet cable and jacked in so that we've got a better signal here, and we don't have to worry about lag and cutting out and stuff.
Yeah, it's been smooth sailing ever since.
Well, not ever since. We had those few weeks where I had all kinds of problems because of the 4K monitor I was trying to use that apparently my computer can't handle. So at some point I'm going to have to replace that or sell that. I still haven't decided what I'm doing yet. I'm sitting on 2 4K monitors that collectively were like $700, and I can't use them. So I'm probably going to have to put them on Marketplace.
Oh, it sucks, man.
It does. I mean, I'll get some money back. I guess that'll be nice. But I'm back to the 3 monitors of completely different brands and sizes that I had before. One of them's a TV. Like, it's a freaking mess in here. But it works. I am finding that I actually prefer the smaller 3 monitor setup for this show, at least, in some of the stuff we do on the channel, to one real big ultra wide monitor. Like, if I was gaming all the time, that'd be great. But it actually is a lot easier to have dedicated monitors that I can screen share with on OBS. I have found. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
What I might do is sell those and then get just cheaper, like just regular high def monitors that are all the same size and the same brand.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Nobody fry your system.
Nobody cares about this.
First world problems, Cap. Stop complaining about, oh, I've got so many monitors and I can't use them. Oh. Poor me.
You're one to talk. Keep talking about your 4K player in your friggin' movie theater. Like, shut up, DJ.
I haven't brought that up. All right. What are we going
Not
to
the
next?
last 10 minutes.
Mojo Froyo and Comics is back. $2.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and it's funny. Super chats are coming in again, and we've only got 3 minutes left of the show.
Well, so it goes.
I was really taking my time because it was a little bit slimmer on the questions tonight. So I was like, I can sit back and relax. And then here they come. Guy, it's like trying to close up at a toy store. It's like, look, grandma trying to buy stuff for her grandson. We're closing in 5 minutes. I'm going to lock the doors. No, I appreciate you guys. Go ahead.
He wants to know, what flavor Froyo should Clayface be? Ugh, that sounds, ugh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to eat that.
Yeah, me neither. Probably a blend of different chocolates, right? It's probably like a Rocky Road, or it's like a white chocolate and a dark chocolate mix.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had, like I said, I need to have Froyo because apparently we're going to keep getting these questions and I'm not qualified. Is Froyo, is there chocolate versions of it? Is it, because I know it's more like a yogurt than ice cream.
I don't know, but there's like chocolate yogurt, I guess.
Ew, yeah.
I know that doesn't sound good, but
Nothing about this sounds appetizing. You're eating, like, am I eating, like, do I want to be, I don't know, do I want to be imagining that I'm eating Clayface? I don't know if I want it to be brown.
Yeah. But then if it's just generically what flavor would Clayface like, the first thing I say is, based on, the personality of any of those, I guess I don't know what Froyo they'd have. And then secondly, there's 4 of them.
Well, yeah, it's
in the comics, and then you have the Matt Hagen that's a mix of 2, and then you have the one from the Batman TV series, which is even a completely different character.
And he's gray. He's not even brown.
I wonder when they came up with that, DJ, if part of that was a joke where they were like, the comics have so many Clayfaces. Let's make up another one.
Yeah, let's just make our own. We don't want to pick one. Let's just do our own. He's surprisingly tragic in that show.
I know. Well, he's basically their Two-Face.
That's true. He's cool. I
like
like him.
They've all but said that because for whatever reason they weren't allowed to use Two-Face in that show.
I would like a Yang in, or is it Yin?
It's Yin.
Yes, I would like a Yin in the Batman series. I would like a cop that he that's not Gordon. That
Well,
he,
it
like,
should be
pairs up with.
Montoya, right? Like Yin is basically Montoya.
Yeah, sure. I'll take your word
I
for
mean,
it.
it'd be cool if it was her. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I mean, like Montoya is a great comics character that we haven't done in live action yet.
Yeah, just like a cop that comes through several movies that is like a part of the family.
And I would especially want Montoya if they do Harvey Dent and Two-Face, because they have a really interesting relationship in Gotham Central, and everybody's hoping they do Rucka stuff. So anyway, let's finish up these super chats if we could. Yeah.
5590ERS.
Yeah.
Who's had the better video games in your opinion, Spider-Man or Batman?
I have to say Batman, just by default with the Arkham series. And I don't like Spider-Man PS4 enough to even put it quite on that level. It's good. I find it monotonous in comparison, and I don't think the story's as good.
I agree.
But Spider-Man's had... So, I don't know. I guess the complicated thing is Spider-Man had arguably a better overall video game history before Arkham versus Batman.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I think. I mean, there were good Batman games before that, but there weren't as good, like, 3D story-driven games as Spider-Man had. But then when you get into the modern era, it totally flips. So, I don't know. I think, the Arkham games are too good to not give it to Batman, but it's a toss-up with the full collective history of those characters, certainly.
Yeah, he says in your opinion, so this is definitely just going to be, like, taste, like, whoever you want to play as. Like, I played I played Arkham Asylum for, like, 10 minutes and got bored and haven't played them since, so I'm definitely got to go with Spider-Man. But, whatever, most people would agree with you.
Well, you should go to City at some point, though, because it's a lot of fun.
I don't know if I would find it fun. I found it tedious, but I don't have a dream to be Batman, I guess. Let me see, where are we going? Checkers the Inventor, $5, last one. See if we can finish this up. Cap, even though you didn't like MODOK in Ant-Man 3, did you cry when he showed up because you always wanted to see him on the big screen? Oh, wow.
No, I did not. And I'm sure you're making fun of me over BVS again. But I didn't need MODOK on the big screen necessarily. I mean, like, MODOK has been fun and play. I'm not like a giant MODOK fan or anything.
Oh, thanks for taking the heat off of me a little bit, Checkers.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. Thanks, Checkers. Appreciate you, buddy.
I wonder if there's anyone who did cry because they saw MODOK on the big screen. Maybe just horror.
They probably
What?
Probably didn't last very long.
I don't think it was tears of joy.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, that's gonna do it for us tonight. Thanks a lot for watching, folks. Hope you had a good time. I'm sure we did. And there she is. She's back. And I will be back again tomorrow night with a Beware the Batman stream, so look forward to that if you want to pop in and hang out with us. And then I'm going to be back Sunday for a double feature review. I forgot to mention that earlier, but if all things go according to plan, I'm going to see John Wick 4 finally. I haven't gone yet, and I've got to see, which nobody's asked for, by the way, which is hilarious, but Shazam 2, so we're going to do those, Connor and I, on Sunday, and then I'm going to take a little bit of hiatus for a couple weeks and work on writing my movie, so I'll still have probably some videos up those 2 weeks, but I don't know if we're going to do any Captain Logan shows. We might do a couple, like one a week during those. I got to talk to DJ and figure that out.
Sure, we'll figure it out.
Because I may have space in my schedule in the evening to do that, because I'm probably not going to write until after the kids go to bed and stuff anyways. So just to check in with you guys, and especially if more news comes out, because there was so much stuff this week, we might have more developments for various things. But anyway, I will... What's up?
No. It sounds exciting. I mean, we can do a show once a week if you want, or we can just drop it all together. I could just hold down the fort and we can do quotes of Venom from the Spider-Man 2000 game, apparently, because everyone has so many good ones.
I will, I'll keep you informed, folks. And anyway, in the meantime, I was Captain Logan. This was DJ Martinez. And we'll see you next time, folks.
Everybody grab your copy of The Cape. Go watch it.